Welcome to another episode of Success Through Failure. This is your host, Jim Harshaw Jr. Today, we're talking about books and habits and apps and gadgets. And by the way, that spells BHAG. I was actually about to record this episode and I was like, how can I remember those four things so I don't have to look at my notes every time I say those four words? I'm like, BHAG. Oh my gosh, it's BHAG. And if you're familiar with the term BHAG, it comes from the book Built to Last, 1994 book. Fantastic book, a book that every person who's in business should read. But it stands for BHAG, Big Hairy Audacious Goals. But in today's episode, it stands for Books and Habits and Apps and Gadgets. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And listen, I'm going to give you a handful of things that really work for me and things, like I said, I've cultivated this list of things over the years that I use in my life to help me with all the things that I mentioned, the focus, the clarity, the balance, and the, finding success through failure. But there are so many more out there. And I know that you're going to have others that you use. And I have an amazing community of listeners. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take any ideas that you have, any of these books and habits and apps and gadgets that I don't talk about, or even ones that I do, and you can tell me that you use those. But if there are other ones that you didn't hear me say that you use that would be helpful for others to know, can you share those? Like, share those with the community. And here's how you do it. You take a screenshot of the episode and you use the hashtag STF pod. So STF for success through failure, STF pod. The reason I make it POD as opposed to podcast is it shortens it. It gives you more space to use to write text if you're posting this on Twitter. But post your ideas and your suggestions there. Also, you can go there, check out that hashtag, and you can see what others are posting. You can see what the community of listeners is talking about. So use that hashtag and also check that hashtag so you can learn what some other people are using along these lines of what we're talking about today here too. All right. So listen, this process that we're going to be talking about today, the things that we'll be talking about that you can use and implement in your life, like, this is the process. This doesn't guarantee you're not going to fail. This doesn't mean you're never going to trip over yourself, and you're never going to have days where you're just out of focus or times where you're out of balance. This is just going to make you more resilient. It's going to help you find success through failure. It's going to help you get back on the path when you do fall and when you do fail and make mistakes and have those bad days or weeks or months. This stuff is going to help you. All right, so let's dive in. 3 books right off the top. I'm going to start with 3 books. And the first one, if you're a longtime listener or if you're a client of mine out there listening, this is not going to be a surprise, right? Everything that we do in life comes back to relationships, right? If you ever heard of the Grant study, this is the longest longitudinal study on human happiness ever. It's still going on. I think John F. Kennedy was actually in the first class of people that they were studying when this came out of Harvard. I think it's like 85 years ago or something like that now. And this study, the results of the study prove that really it's not about money. It's not about stuff that make us happy. It's about relationships, like having connections and having relationships. And whether these relationships are in your family or in business or otherwise, having healthy relationships will make you happier. All right. So this book, the first recommendation I have is How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book was written, I think, in the 1930s. It's an amazing book. And again, if you want to have better relationships at work, better relationships at home, I don't care if it's with your kids or your spouse or your boss or your colleagues or your clients, it doesn't matter. This book will help you better connect with people, better understand people, build empathy, put yourself in their shoes, and just help people buy into any ideas that you're trying to sell, right? And whether you're trying to sell your kids on eating their broccoli or sell a prospect on buying your stuff, it's the same thing, right? People. We're all wired with these certain similarities that this book really just pulls back the curtain and reveals. I mean, I promise you, this is a must read book. I would actually hold my copy of it right here in front of the video for those of you watching on YouTube. If, by the way, you can just go to jimharshawjr.com/YouTube to catch these the video episodes here. But I would hold my copy up. But my son, my 14-year-old son, is reading my copy right now, and I've got notes in the margins and underlines and highlights and everything else, but he's reading it right now, which I'm really stoked about. I didn't make him read it. He actually came to me and asked me if he could read it. So I would give that. I couldn't find it. I was looking for it before I recorded this, so I couldn't find it. But anyway, that's an amazing book. So that's number one. Second book. This is more about sales and marketing, but really it's about psychology. It's about understanding people. And again, whether you're trying to sell your kids on eating their broccoli or a client, like this is about the psychology of people, what makes people tick, what makes people want to buy into an idea. And this one might surprise you, but this is a favorite book of mine. And it's this Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. Now, I interviewed Russell Brunson back in episode 50. That's 50. I interviewed him, an amazing entrepreneur, happens to be also a former college wrestler. So we have that in common. But man, this book, it's called the subtitle is The Underground Playbook to Find Your Message, Build a Tribe, and Change the World. It is so powerful. Again, I don't care what business you're in. This book is helpful. It's really written for sort of entrepreneurs and especially internet entrepreneurs, but really anybody who has an idea or has a skill set and you want to monetize it. But at the deepest level, this is about psychology and how people tick. All right, the third one, go figure. This is another book about mindset. It's called Think and Grow Rich. It's been around forever. I love these old books that have just been around forever, and they have this wisdom that is just this lasts through the ages, right? I mean, these are books that they don't have to be rewritten, right? Some of the like the Think and Grow Rich has been updated. How to Win Friends and Influence People. I know there are updated copies out there. Doesn't matter whether you read the original or kind of the updated versions. It's the same message. This one's about mindset and your mindset around money and how to create financial success. I mean, it's a fascinating book. If you've never read it, absolute must read. I've read it multiple times, just has really helped me. And a lot of my clients I know have read this as well. And now I mentioned old books, and I'm going to try to keep these to three, right? Three recommendations. I gave you the three: How to Win Friends and Influence People, Expert Secrets, and Think and Grow Rich. I'm also going to say this, the way I came to faith and as a Christian was sort of just hearing people who I respected and looked up to talk about their faith, right? Not beat me over the head with it, but just kind of subtly go, "Oh, okay, they're strong in their faith. Maybe this is something I should check out." So I'm going to say this: the Bible is a foundational book for me. And whether you're a Christian or not, or want to learn more about Christianity, just listening to or reading the Gospels is a fascinating read. If you just want to kind of educate yourself about this massive religion, man, just reading the Gospels it's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, really interesting. If you download the free Bible app called U version, you can actually listen to the audio book, the audio versions of these. And they're just really interesting stories of Jesus and his story. It just told from four different perspectives. So anyway, I'm going to add that to my list of books. And I know I'm going to try to keep these to three, but it's my podcast and I can do what I want to. So I'm going to make a fourth on that one. So, all right, next one, apps. Actually, we'll keep it in line here with BHAG. We'll go to habits, and then I'm going to give you some apps. All right. First habit, this is a foundational one, so I'm not going to count this in my three. This is the productive pause. And the productive pause is this: it's a short period of focused reflection around specific questions that leads to clarity of action and peace of mind. Clarity of action and peace of mind. If you want to learn more about that, go back to episode 112. I'm going to update that and actually re-record and create a new productive pause episode because it's been over 4 years since I recorded that. I've got new learnings, new information that I want to share with you about the productive pause. But if there's such a thing as the secret to success, this is it. It's hitting the pause button, getting off the treadmill of life, not doing the same thing tomorrow for no better reason than that's what we did yesterday. All right. So the productive pause. So that's kind of, I'm going to say that habit's just kind of foundational. And I'm going to give you three actually tactical things that I do on a very regular basis. The first one is this: I want to feel good. I want to feel good as I go through my day. I want to feel productive. I want to feel present. I don't want to feel like I'm dragging or sluggish. So one thing that I do that I found has really helped me is intermittent fasting. So I don't eat until about noon every day. Now I'm not hardcore about it. If I, get a little bit hungrier a little bit earlier, or sometimes I end up, not eating until 1 o'clock or something. It's not a strict thing for me, but I know that if I just don't eat breakfast and I just go until about lunchtime or so before I eat, I feel better. I feel like I'm on rocket fuel. And one thing that I do, and this is probably a cheat, but I use bulletproof coffee. Bulletproof coffee was invented by Dave Asprey. And one of the components of bulletproof coffee is butter, adding butter to your coffee. I know it sounds disgusting. I had the idea of trying this years ago. And then my late brother-in-law, Stephen Kotra, he was doing it. So I tried it and I was like, it's kind of gross. And then now I just love coffee with butter. Now, not any butter. It's not just, regular butter you get from the store that you might normally buy. It's actually from grass-fed cows. It's organic grass-fed butter, and the kind that I use is Kerrygold. That's the name of the brand that I use. So it's really good when you add it, but it satiates you. It makes you feel full. Makes you the fat that you put into your belly with that stuff makes you actually not hungry. So it kills the hunger pangs. But I just feel good even after I work out. Sometimes I'll have a hard-boiled egg if I do a really hard workout, or if I feel like I just need some fuel in my body. But otherwise, I just don't eat until noon. So anyway, intermittent fasting, that's one habit. That's the first one I should want to share with you. The second one is this. So in my coaching program called Reveal Your Path, the first goal that we work on setting, no matter what you want to work, I don't care what you want to work on. You want to make $1 million, you want to run an Ironman, whatever it is. If those are some goals that clients of mine have and have had, but we always start with relationship goals. These are the top of the list, right? I talked about the importance of relationships. We talked about the Grant study from Harvard, and it proves that relationships are the foundation for happiness and satisfaction in life. Everything in my life seems to go better and go well and be easier when I have a healthy, strong connection with my wife, Allie. So date nights. We always get one date night in per month. We try to get two. Usually we get two, actually. And this is something that we had talked about years ago. We got to make sure we're at least having date nights at least once a month. We got 4 kids. Life is so busy, but we just weren't doing it until we actually made it a written goal. And now we're very consistent with it. So those connection points, just having a conversation from start to finish, having a complete thought and a complete conversation, that just doesn't happen when there are 4 kids in the house. So, by the way, I have a 16-year-old now. We have one. He's on the brink of driving. He's got his permit. A little bit scary, but it's pretty exciting to have a 16-year-old in the house. So that's my oldest. My youngest is 8 right now. So it's a busy home. So with these date nights are really, really a critical habit. All right, let's get to the next one. I talked about the productive pause, and this is just kind of one version of the productive pause. And that's this. Like if you've ever like started your day with email, that's not a great way to start your day. You just kind of start reacting and being reactive throughout the day. You're not like on top of it, right? But when you go into your day with a plan, you have clarity, you have focus, and you can be more productive. And whenever I do that, whenever I plan my day in advance, or even better, plan tomorrow today, I just have a laser focused day. So this is a key habit I know for me is to plan my day in advance. So I really feel like having a great day always starts the night before, right? I really think the actually probably the number one keystone habit of all the habits. If you can only do one thing right, it's get to bed on time. Because if you get to bed on time, you wake up on time. If you wake up on time, you can plan your day, or maybe you planned it the night before, or you can get your workout in. You can do all the things you need to do to set yourself up for a successful day. But planning that day, when you plan your day, it is so critical to have that done as you go into your day so you don't just get sucked into email and start reacting all day. All right. So those are the 3 habits: intermittent fasting, date nights, and planning my day in advance. Okay. BHAG. Okay. So we've done B, we've done HA. How about apps? All right. I love to talk about the power of the mind, and I know how much it impacts all of our success, whether it's relationships or health and fitness or in our finances at work, whatever it is. Our mind is so powerful. And this is the one thing, if you can control your mind and impact the thoughts that you have, you will find success. So the number one app that I'm going to recommend right now, it's already on your phone. It's the voice memo app. what I do is I actually write out scripts for different things, right? One's kind of like a visualization, sort of ideal life script. Another one is a list of examples of why I can create next level success. And then another one is like a kick your own, I call it the kick your own ass script, right? It's that voice in your head that says, all right, Jim, you said you want this. You said you want to, run this race or make this money or have this relationship. Like, do it. Like, what are you doing? Are you gonna make it happen, or are you just gonna talk about it? Right? It's that script. It's like this coach. I actually have a mental picture of this coach in my head, who I used to have like saying this stuff to me, right? But like I record those into a voice memo and then I listen to them whenever I feel like I need them. Even if I don't feel like I need them, I drip those doses of those right words that only I can come up with, and I listen to those. So using that voice memo app for as a mindset tool. All right. So that's number one. Second one, this one's already on your phone too. This also goes back to the power of the mind, right? The images that we see and the things that we want to visualize. And the app that I use to really plug in the images into my mind that I want to remember, that have actually happened in the past, or that I aspire to, I save those pictures in my Photos app, right? Find them on Google. Maybe it's a picture actually of something actually happened. You save that, but here's the key: you save it into a folder, right? And there's something called the law of attraction, right? This is just this idea that we create things in our mind, and we create success first in our mind, and we can attract it to us. But I just use this. I call it LOA. That's the name of the folder on my phone, and I have all these pictures saved in there, and I just flip through them. Different times. A lot of times right before bed, which is nice because I plug these images into my mind, right? Super easy to do, also easy not to do. But this is another mindset hack. This is an app that I use. All right, this third one is this. This is not so much an app as it is a shortcut. It's super awesome, saves me a ton of time. We can all do this on our smartphones, but you can create shortcuts. Right. So I actually talked more about this in episode 271, where I talk about simple technology hacks to simplify your life. I have a list of these types of hacks, but one of them is I have shortcuts for all kinds of things. Like if you find yourself texting your email address to somebody a lot, create a shortcut for it. Right. For me, I don't want to have to write out jim@jimharshawjr.com on my phone with your thumbs. It kind of takes a little bit of time. And I just have a quick 4 letters, JHJR, boom, and then the whole email just pops up. Or my website, if I have to text my website link to somebody, super easy, JHCOM, which is jimharshawjr.com, pops up whenever I type in those letters. You can create all the different ones that you want. Makes things a lot smoother, makes things a lot easier, right? So that's just a little bit of a technology hack. You can learn more about those, episode 271. All right, the third one, gadgets. I'm actually using all three of the ones I'm going to share with you. I'm using right now at this moment as I record this. The first one is this. I've kind of always ignored a lot of health metrics over the years, when I was younger anyway. I just knew that if I just, focus on the process, like eating right and working out and that sort of thing, like then I was good. And then I trained for the marathon I ran last year in 2020, and my training partner always had a Garmin watch. It was telling him his heart rate and distance and all this stuff, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. Long story short, my wife Allie bought me a Garmin watch, so I've got a Garmin watch right now. It's pretty cool. Tells me my steps. Tells me, okay, what do I got? I got 70, almost 7,500 steps today. I already had a workout this morning, so I got a bunch in there. It tells me the temperature outside. I can set an alarm. One of the things I use this every day. I set an alarm for my workouts. So I usually get up around between 5 and 5:30 for my workout. And I don't want to wake up Allie. So I have a vibration set to wake up on. So I don't have to have my phone blare out an alarm to wake up Allie. But that's one of the things I use it for. It's not the only thing I use it for, but I use it for obviously for tracking my workouts, tracking my sleep is a big one. I've really been dialed into paying attention to my sleep, trying to get more sleep these days. And this has been really helpful. So if you want to learn more about that, or you want to check it out, you can go to jimharshawjr.com/Garmin. So I've got shortcut links for all these three things that I'm using right now. So the first one is the Garmin watch, right? Some kind of smart watch that helps you track your health and fitness. Right. The second one is this. we're all at this point working from home at some level. Well, most of us have done that at some point. Maybe you're still doing that. And, especially going into the pandemic, I was like, man, there's got to be some way that I can mount my camera, not at the top of and I have an external camera, but not at the top of my computer, but like in the middle of the screen, so I can actually look at the camera or look at the screen and make it feel like I'm looking at the camera at the same time. But I could never find something. Well, turns out there is something out there that can help you do that. And it's a really cool thing. I bought this and like I use it literally every single Zoom call that I do, any kind of video call that I do. It is a plexiglass, so it's see-through, a plexiglass camera mount, and you can mount your camera anywhere you want on in front of your computer screen so that it really feels like you're looking directly at the camera as opposed to looking down at your screen and looking at the person on your screen versus looking at the camera. It's a really just a great way to make a Zoom call feel more personable. So I would recommend this. And this is called PlexiCam. If you go to jimharshaw.jr.com/PlexiCam, just like plexiglass camera, PlexiCam. And then the third one I'm going to share with you that I'm also using right now is this. I'm going to go back to like rocket fuel. And, like I feel like I'm on rocket fuel whenever I, do some of the things I talked about earlier, like the intermittent fasting. And like, I feel like I'm on rocket fuel whenever I am standing up, and I'm using a standing desk right now. I use the Varidesk, VARI desk brand, but I use a standing desk and it's amazing. I record all my podcast episodes from this now. I record anytime I do a talk for companies and whatnot. I do it, if it's a virtual talk, I'm doing it from my standing desk. So this has absolutely been a game changer for me. So I just rattled off a bunch of books and habits and apps and gadgets, BHAGs, if you will. There are a ton more, right? There are other ones that I use, but I really wanted to give you just the best ones I think you could really implement very quickly. I want to hear from you though, and I want you to leverage the power of this community of the Success Through Failure podcast community. So check out the hashtag STFpod and also use your own, post your own. Like you can screenshot, if you're listening to this on your phone, you can screenshot it, or you don't have to screenshot it. You can just use the hashtag and post whatever it is that you're using, whatever other books that you love or habits that you do or apps that you have used that have been helpful for you or gadgets that you love. Go ahead and post them. And by the way, I have all the links that I mentioned for the 3 gadgets. I just want to give you a heads up. Those are all affiliate links, meaning I get a commission off of those. And I wasn't going to do that, but I was like, what the heck? I might as well. I'm using all 3 of these. These aren't things that I'm promoting that I'm not using, but I do get a very small cut of that, a small commission. So just a heads up on that. But again, jimharshawjr.com/Garmin or /Plexicam or /standing desk. And you can go right to the ones that I'm using. So check those out. Again, all of this will be in the action plan. So if there's a lot here that you didn't catch, go to jimharshawjr.com/action and you can get the PDF download of this episode. Or if you want to talk about how you can start actually implementing some of this stuff in your life and find more focus and clarity and balance and find that success through failure, go to jimharshawjr.com/apply and you can apply for a free one-time coaching call with me, kick the tires, see what a coaching call might feel like for you and how that works. All right. I gave you a lot here. Don't just sit on this, use this stuff, implement this. Remember, failure is part of your path. It's part of the process. These tools and these tactics are going to help you be more resilient. They're going to help you be more powerful, not just despite failure, oftentimes because of failure. So take action, implement these. I look forward to talking to you again soon.